G'day everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the Melbourne Punters Show. As usual, Darren Potter.
Ralphie. Jumpy. I'm off to a bad start.
And back from his day, and back from his day watching the mighty red, white and blue. Racetrack Ralphie's here after going out to Etihad Stadium, which is very rare for Melbourne supporters to make the trek out there to Etihad, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, I got a message from a mate who said, are you going? I'm an R and hate Etihad. So I got a ticket at Medallion Club. I said, right, I'll see you there. So made it bearable, but this is the Andrew Johnson tribute edition of the Punter Show. You didn't watch the golf, you said, Potts. Andrew Johnson makes the three of us look like Pete Evans. Very, very largish man. And
is he the one with the beard?
The beard, yeah. And I'm watching some of it, and they said, well, good to see these young players starting to make it. He's only 27. He looked 150, and it looks like Walrus. But what about this for a betting move in the golf we were talking about? So Stenson gets 2 up with 3 to play. As you said, you were once a golfers, man. British Open, a lot can happen, particularly if Phil Mickelson's playing so well. But I had a rule, of course. So 2 up, 3 to play, $12, $6.50 on Betfair. A lot can happen in 3 holes. And you know how this is what they don't show you about the other side of the wanting to bar betting on the phone in play, because you can actually punt smartly and responsibly and win. Because my natural inclination, if I was having would be you're going to have something at the 650 because so much can happen in a British Open when the bloke's playing well, particularly. So they've both hit off 16th, and it's got a burn halfway, so they only use long iron. And they had 280 left, and Mickelson must have been there just far in front of him, so he hits first. Hits it on the green, stiffs it. He hits it on the green, 280 metres, it's a great shot. Putter, he's in the $4.130.
Yep.
So you could have already made money. Then Stenson blocks it, green left, into the crap. He's so Mickelson's in at 280.
The in-play swings are amazing.
To $1.50. By then you've completely traded out of your head. Stenson gets an up and down. He's 2 up with 2 to play, and he's $1.03.
Yeah.
All in the one hole. It was fascinating.
And the thing is, wouldn't it be nice if, rather than having to ring our pocket proxy IP addresses or do all this sort of nonsense, where, and I know it's definitely a lot further away now than what it's ever been with the current political climate, wouldn't it just be nice to be able to click a button and sit there, and I think it would bring a lot more money into the game.
Well, the point is, there's no politicians watching this show, I'm sure, but if they were watching this show, these markets are worldwide. The punters that bet on them are spread around the globe, and you are deliberately, knowingly putting Australians at a disadvantage. So, well done to you.
Dick, on that point though, I don't know if they're knowingly doing it. I think they actually just genuinely don't know.
Yeah, I think it's naivety rather than.
Nick Xenophon, he'd be saying he wouldn't want. This is not political, but I would think there'd be no reason whatsoever Nick Xenophon would take the side of bookmakers.
Yeah. Definitely not.
No, but he would think, well, they're all bad. Let's stop it. As opposed to, if you're on Phil Mickelson at 650, and 5 minutes later you can trade out. Yeah, well, that's responsible betting, isn't it?
Well, they're allowing corporate bookmakers to have this cash out thing, which is exactly the same thing.
Yes,
it's just done in a different format, and with a huge advantage to the corporate. So anyway.
And the other thing with that is that it works both ways, Rafi. So not only can you trade yourself into a good position, but if it has moved away from you and allows you to, and I know this, they'll probably deride me for saying this, and it allows you to cut your losses and get out of the position and not do as much damage if you are locked in and you can't get out.
And what they don't say, and it's funny because I suppose there's no punters lobby group, this type of stuff, is that if you've got a problem with your gamble, you can get into the shit in any area of gambling. Unfortunately, it's true. But if you're a disciplined punter, give a disciplined punter all the tools that he can use, and he can profit and bet smartly, as you say, limit your losses.
Well, let's have a look at the overall scheme of things. The racing and sports stuff's still not a big part of the overall betting landscape. 80% of the money that's turned over is turned over in poker machines. but that's where 80% of the problem gamblers are, at least. So we shouldn't. This isn't the sort of stuff you should be attacking. The difference is that you're hooked on the revenue that you get from that stuff.
Yeah.
We need to.
The arguments are nonsense because it's in the same country that you can do all of these things on the share market.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just the only difference is the medium that you're betting on. In this case, it's a golf tournament.
Yeah.
In that case, it could be foreign exchange. You can do that online until your heart's content.
We'll continue on with other topics in part 2, but in part 1 we're going to crack into the very good meeting that was at Caulfield on Saturday, boys.
Use his full name.
What the
Caulfield.
Best
track in Australia.
It is, no doubt. It was the first time I'd walked it. You've walked it a couple of times, Spots. We went out there on Thursday, and I was surprised how firm it was. And it was a good winter track.
Superb.
Yeah.
There's no other way for tracks in superb. And before we start, any jockeys that are watching, if you can't handle praise and criticism, maybe you should turn off now, because there's plenty of praise to dish out from that meeting at Caulfield on Saturday, and plenty of criticism. Both are going too slow and too fast, and this concept of fighting against your horse is just a very frustrating one for someone that watches as many races and replays as I do. But anyway, let's go through them.
Race 1 was taken out by Sabrinka, but I'm going to turn my chair around here for the time being, Pots, because I've got some serious walling to do here.
Because?
Subscribers that got Pots' set were sent out to take the $101 and $23 the place on Armed and Dangerous, and I'm glad I wasn't armed because I would have been dangerous after that race. It was then back from 61 into 21 on course, led them up coming to the turn, inexplicably went to Caulfield Station, then got balanced back up and ran a slashing fourth.
The only thing about that jump is I almost wasn't surprised because it did the same thing at Sandown. So
neither was I.
That horse has obviously got an education or it's got a problem with getting around a turn. But it's got a lot of ability and too much ability to go around at 101. That's why we backed it. But anyway, we also backed Wasn't Me and Zabricka, and unfortunately for us, the worst result of the 3-1. But at least it was a winning race.
So the Vince Carney's data here I've got is that it showed there was a decent mid-race slowdown, and the two that got affected the most is Zabricka and Havelda. So I wouldn't be surprised if they've got a lot more to give, even though their overall time was a bit on the plain side. Mates of mine who had a good first leg of the double, second leg of the double was Sunday back with the Demons, are in Zabricka. So I was happy for them. One of them rang me straight after the race. He said, "Oh, it's a bit hairy then, I'm not at the course." So I was totally unaware that it was jacking up and wasn't going to the betting.
Yeah, she's a really nice filly. She's big. She's a giant. So she looks like a 3-year-old. You know, we're right at the borderline of these 3-year-olds anyway. But
yes,
she's a really big filly, and a lot of them will catch up to her next year. But at the moment, she's too good for most of these 2-year-olds on ability. But she does a lot wrong pre-race, and then has got no tactical speed. So she's always going to rely on runs coming, and they come for her on Saturday, and she won. She's got good talent, as everyone can see.
Did you get a chance to have a look at Havelda? How it created? Because I'm looking. All I'm saying is I'm looking at the figures and the fact it was a bit soft market, particularly for Kieran Maher horse. I reckon it would have a fair bit.
I can't remember exactly how it graded, or it didn't. I mean, it was spec'd in the morning.
Yeah.
From big odds in and then soft play.
Yeah, generally tells you short run.
Yeah, I think it's probably a horse with some plenty to offer.
Race 2 was taken out by Majestic Lass, beating Anatola.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start here because I opposed Majestic Lass at the morning price, and then she got significantly back and started far shorter. So I mean, I just didn't like her coming off the synthetic, but the punters that support her really got it right. She's another really big filly that has got a physical advantage on these other.
She started with Boots. She started her career with Boots.
Yeah, with Moody. Yeah.
Soft time at Geelong. I reckon one of the best lessons I've learned in the last 18 months or so. When I first started throwing myself in at times, and then you get adjust as you go along. Yeah. Is that slow times aren't definitive, are they? Because when they win, about what was Mark's Pearl about? You can trash the second, third, and fourth horses in slow races, but you can't trash
the winner. Yeah.
Particularly early in the prep. So
It was actually a good win. I'm pretty sure I've backed a few horses out of that race to win on the synthetic. Was that the Sorrowbill in that race? And
can't recall.
I know Corsten's filly was, who's Sweet Taste.
Why do you like Anatola?
I mean, I think she's got something to offer, and I just think she was in a terrible race for her first up.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a high pressure 1100 metre race,
Yeah.
where she never travelled for one step. Now, if you go back and look at the previous runs at 1200, she travelled really sweetly, and I expected her to travel sweetly again, but she did.
Yeah.
It all sort of went right, except that Majestic Lass got off her back and was too good for her.
Yeah.
But
No, she went very well.
Yeah, so I think she's got something to offer. I think she'll improve again next start.
Dry only. I
Yeah,
reckon that's the key. Really looking at the figures that Anatola, as you said, didn't push to get there and then hits that wet spot that was there 2 weeks ago. It wasn't there on Saturday and she ran through. Lady Esprit, go back to 1,000 metres. It's 1,000 metres.
Yeah, it's opposed on that basis.
Believing Sorrowbill and Mr. Bobby were the ones. That
Mr. Bobby's won since, Sorrowbill's won a couple. That was a good race at Geelong, so I didn't oppose her on that basis. I opposed it because I don't like backing horses at short prices off the synthetic. I've fallen into it a couple of times with rewarding effort and Stormcraft and just got burnt, so I'm very wary of doing it. But anyway, she was too good.
Blythe Bell, by the way, okay. Blinker first time, second time.
Who?
Blythe Bell.
Oh, yeah.
That's 1,400.
Yeah.
Good sustain 800 close.
Race 3 was taken out by Olanera. That stable's going quite well, and Hersley ranked third. That was the only Waller runner for the day, and very quietly was released to the media on Friday that Justine Hales is relinquishing her post there at Waller and at Waller's in Melbourne, and obviously there's a bit moves at foot there because they haven't had a terrible amount of runners lately, have they?
No, but you traditionally say, and I've heard Mark say this in the Sydney show, that the Melbourne runners outside of when they come down to target runs are often the ones that are pretty tired from Sydney, and they try and make a silkspiece out of Seo's ear, like the
They keep all the young horses in Sydney.
Yeah,
They keep all the young horses in Sydney to educate them. They only send the tried horses that are hard to place in Sydney down. And I think they don't keep a lot of horses down here. And until about a month ago, they were running third in the premiership. So, it's a pretty good effort.
And the other thing with it is, as Chris Wallace said on RSN on Saturday morning, he goes, the difference between this winter and last winter was the tracks were significantly wetter in Sydney, so we were sending more horses down to get onto the dry tracks because Flemington was dry the whole way through winter.
Yeah.
Caulfield's dry, the tracks just drain better. So
this is the start of our thing. So I've got no idea what Vince's figures are going to tell us, but Ralph can tell us after I say this, right? But I am saying there was a bunch of jockeys in this race that rushed out of the barrier, got 100 metres, got a position, and then wanted to hit the brakes. And then the better, and they weren't the better chances in the race. So then horses like Fearless Raider wanted to go quicker. Hersley wanted to go quicker. So Dwayne Dunn almost had no choice but to pull out of the 1-1 and slide forward. Now, why he didn't just keep going forward and take control of the race is completely beyond me on a horse that has got only one gear. And in the end, if you just watched the race and stopped it at the 600, you would have been quite harsh on Michael Dean Olanero. But in the end, he was the only horse in the race that was able to maintain his momentum throughout the race, and that won in the race. The rest of the jockeys in that race, apart from Craig Williams, really gave their horses no real opportunity to express themselves. All of their momentum was interrupted. They were forced to go fast, slow, fast, or they were all over the place. And by miles, the best rider in the race won the race.
So, spot on. On Vince's figures now, here's a beauty coming up, but first I'll address your point. So, for instance, on a match-up basis, Fearless Raider and Olanera from the 800 to the 400 slowed 2.9, 1.5, what's that, 3.9, 4.4 lengths. It lost 4.4 lengths to the winner. Fearless Raider lost 10.8 lengths.
Yeah.
So it's all momentum. And why?
You're talking to benchmark there.
Benchmark.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was 6.
So in the wash-up of that, what Ralph's saying is Olanera got a 6-length advantage on Fearless Raider.
Yep.
And at the line, Fearless Raider had plenty to offer. He finished that race with a bunch of unused energy.
Yeah. Now Hersley, how's this a nice thing? So Hersley, that won the same track and distance on a wetter track 2 starts ago, went 9 lengths below benchmark. His previous start at Flemington went 8.9 lengths below benchmark. But because the leaders were going faster, he was sitting midfield.
Yeah.
Up front, he's leading. Chris Waller gets fined $300 for a change of tactics, going at exactly the same speed. On Saturday, he went 13.7 lengths quicker. Same training distance.
Yeah.
We're apples to apples here. There's no questions. But I keep saying, I had to change, you have to change, we all have to change to improve what we do. Until stewards improve their methodology and way of measuring racing, they're not going to get the respect of people who do things properly.
Correct.
Oh, it's that simple.
But there's a lot of jockeys there that could have
Showed something more initiative.
taken control of that race.
So trust
Palace
the
Tycoon, Palace Tycoon's one of them.
Trust the SP's pots?
Yeah.
Saying? Fearless Raider?
Yeah.
A lot of these will meet each
I
other.
think Fearless
until it's
Raider was a
time.
bit overbet, but you know
That's elevated.
he's still in his first
Not
prep.
going to show any.
He'll probably come back and be the best horse out of that race.
So in 2 weeks' time, there's a 2400. Most of these will meet each other. Who would you rather do?
Well, I'd rather be on something different.
Yeah.
Something coming from another
That's
race.
Exactly. If I send one there from Sydney or something with any ability.
Yeah.
Just one other note, punters. The great comeback's about to go around in this race here at Mildura. He's the one that's had 14 starts in a maiden for 10 seconds. So he's,
Most of them at very short prices.
yeah, so he's not one for the faint-hearted. He was $1.80 on course out to $2.50, and a couple of sickos have just chimed in and clipped it back in from $2.50 into $2.30. So
Incidentally, apologies to 2 people on Twitter, Matt Welsh and Todd Baker.
yep.
Yes, it's lemon lime bitters.
And in all the confusion of me calling you Ralphie and him jumping at the start, we've got to say DK's having the week off because DK will be betting probably on this
Yeah.
race. He'll be opposing comeback
I think he's
almost
going to come back.
for sure, and he'll be giving heartburn to the corporate bookmakers that are fielding on this meeting at Mildura. And
Well, not now he's not because it's less than 2 minutes before the race.
also tomorrow he's horse
Gift of Music's in race 6 at Pakenham.
Yeah, and I haven't done the race yet, but she'll run a nice race.
Well, if you want to make money, Juppy, race 4, we make some money out of this. Go for it.
I think so. Race 4 was taken out by Shizozo, who beat Golden Main. Longer on in an inexplicable ride, ran 3rd.
Same again, rush out of the gates. Dwayne Dunn actually did a good job getting up outside the lead and then decided to hit the brakes. And, like, honestly, I swear halfway through that race, Longeron turned around and looked up at him and said, "Are you sure? Are you sure we want to slow down? Because I can go a lot quicker than this. This isn't much fun for me slowing down." And Dwayne went, no, we need to slow down. We need to save ourselves. And in the end, Dwayne, you got beaten by momentum, not because you weren't on the best horse. And whoever rode Thames Floor didn't do it much justice either. So.
Now, I'm about to get my phone out, Pots. You guys can too, and I'm just going to walk around staring through it. Don't worry about catching Pokemon. I'm going to try and catch Tony McAvoy. just cannot get near him.
I collected on him last Wednesday.
Oh.
First time for the year, Turbo Street.
Yeah, there you go.
Break the duck.
Something.
But Shizozo was no good.
No,
Thanks,
I'll
Tony.
work out Shizozo. Post-race, I was on Longer On and Bondiga.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
So, Shizozo was enormous first up, as we all agree.
Yep.
Yep. But it was $21. Does that tell you that maybe the horse overexerted against what the stable thought it could do, and it flattened it, and then it went to a bog against Sandown, up to Sydney. So I think it got itself
Went
back.
enormous in Sydney.
Yeah, and then for a non-city...
Comes
riding
back,
jockey,
another flat one.
It wasn't too bad,
Wasn't
but
too
it
bad.
got itself back on track, is all
Yeah.
I'm saying, you know. But ultimately, the 2 best horses should have ran 1-2.
Yep.
But they've also run good time here. I mean, Golden Main, we're talking about position and speed. Now, there you go. They've gone quickly. Golden Main's running just a little bit below benchmark. That's his perfect comfort zone. If the leaders are going slow, they'll still put him out the back and they'll cost him the race. All you have to do is do your maps with Golden Main, and that's why the money came for it, because they saw there was going to be good speed. So with Longer On, he went 4 lengths slower on a race-to-race basis than he did the previous start when he pissed in at Caulfield. He went, it's broken through, come back.
Oh, it's one.
Yeah.
I wasn't even watching.
Blimey. Yep, so it's gone 4 lengths slower, but then it's gone at going on Vince Cardi's work 3.3 plus in the mid. It's actually improved its mid-race speed by 10 lengths.
From the other start.
Yeah, you know why it looks like that? Because I had a real good look at he's got an energy distribution chart, which is the first 400 metres. What that would have meant, and they've gone quite quick in the first 400. So once they've found positions, anchor drop, and then they've gone again. So they would have made 3 runs in the race effectively. You know know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it's matched your eyes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there've been good times here. So I would say, Bondiga's a model next up. Ginger Boy, you're our jumps expert.
Yep. Well, I assume he'll go
Model, isn't it?
next Sunday to one of the races at Bendigo on Moss Trooper Day.
Yep.
There'll be a set race and penalty hurdle there for him.
Kapoor will bolt in a wet track 2400.
Yeah, Kapoor needs a wet track. I think you're a very brave man declaring Bondiga a moral than anything. He found trouble there on Saturday, but that's him. He'll be over better his next start, and I'll be trying not to find him if I can.
It was a poor option.
Race 5 was taken out by Mr. Individual, and another good effort from a horse that you found a little while ago, Downhearted Pots.
I was a bit reluctant with him on Saturday. He was big odds, so I was on the fence with him, but that run on the turf, because he was coming off the synthetic, will do him the world of good. He needs good tracks, but he's a horse that's got wins in him for sure. Again, the best rides won this race. What was Jessica Payne doing on a little bit of spark? I mean, what was she doing? What was she thinking? Like, I just, I don't want to single out certain jockeys, but just why? We'll see some great examples later in the card of what happens when you let the horse run to its natural tempo and distribute its energy evenly over a race. So the best example is Wild Rain, but a little bit of spunk's a horse that just needs to flow. Why you would restrain that horse to that extent? And she brought herself undone and a lot of other runners.
And in fairness, and I know you're not being unfair, but in fairness, you're talking about Jessica Payne compared to Damien Oliver's here. You're a young kid versus one of the greatest, if not the greatest ever. But the point I want to bring up is that, like with Hersley, going the same speed and getting fined, that was change of tactics on a little bit of spark. Now, it's actually one thing with mathematics. I hate to tell the stewards is when people go, "Oh, it's just your opinion." No, with mathematics, it's actually fact. It's not opinion. So that horse, same track and distance, went 6 lengths faster last up on wetter surface.
And was in the finish.
So they changed tactics by 6 lengths, even though they happen to still be leading. Now that to me is a change of tactics. Isn't it?
Yeah, well,
if you're going to say,
if you're just going to
I'm a fast horse,
but I'm going to go as slow as I possibly can while leading.
And yet nothing. And not against Jessica Payne, but against the stewards' methodology and way of looking at racing, because they don't use figures. By the way, Divine Mr. Artie, is there any danger they can actually just understand that the horse now is race fit, put the fucking thing in the race when they're going that slow?
Yeah, I don't think they're
going to. Be prepared to slaughter it.
Yeah. And my other small gripe in the race is if the horse goes in the barrier and plays up badly enough to be taken out, just scratch it. Really, Twisting Typhoon did not go a yard, and you do well to convince me that it didn't do itself some sort of mischief in the gates.
And a double shot, of course, because it did run badly. That took speed out of the race as well.
It did, yeah. Should have been up outside the lead. It should have been in the spot that Mr. Individual was in.
Race 6 was taken out by I'm Ablaze.
Spurs or not
Spurs?
It would have been Spurs, and Froggy always wears them. So yeah, he had the Spurs.
Well done, Froggy. Well done on whoever rode Fast Approaching. Nice tempo. I'd imagine it'll be pretty solid throughout. They gave their horses a chance, and Froggy won the race.
That was Benny Allen.
We give a lot of credit to the Weir stable and Peter Ellis and whoever designs tactics for their runners. But if Michael D rode to instructions, the instructions were abysmal. He would have had to give that horse the slightest little squeeze, and it would have been one out, one back, or thereabouts, in the perfect position to win that race from. And he, in the end, didn't make a decision and just sat in an extraordinarily poor position. So that was, completely hopeless. There's nothing good you can say about it.
I would be very confident of that, mate. I would be very confident he wrote exactly the instructions as the horse was second up.
Yeah.
So, hence.
Fair enough.
Well, it was in nowhere land.
Race 7 was taken out by Allman. Great ride by C. Williams beating Dukey Brunswick and Mike and A ran third.
Now here's the alternative one. I'd love to know what the rush with Ben Thompson was with the new boy out of the gates. Why did he need to go that quick in the first 150 metres of the race? And then when he did hand up, he only waited a small time before he went again and attacked Majestic Jew. I mean, they've completely brought each other undone, given themselves no chance. Majestic Duke's run in the circumstances was outstanding.
Next up.
Yeah. And a beautiful ride by Craig Williams, but aided and abetted by the too fast
How did you play the race?
I had a really good small win and decent place bet on Majestic Duke, so I went running fourth.
Yeah,
Wasn't ideal.
You were slaughtered there by how fast.
And I saved them both the favourites, so the race was okay.
I reckon one thing to really, you're edging really knowing a region, taking on the big algorithm players, the robots. That's why I always go to my council with the robot expert in our life, TK. So with Ullman, hadn't won for a while, and seemingly had every chance against fast approaching. The way I read the race, which gave me a lot of confidence, I marked them both 275, hence I played the one that I thought would drift, which was Ullman.
Yep.
Was at the mid part of the race, they weren't respecting. They don't respect as much, and also the fact that 2 weeks ago that was clearly the wettest part of the track. So if you were working your way through the going, as what Eagle was, you could be bonused from 2 weeks ago. I would say that was perfect. So that's your occasional opportunity to beat the robots. When all of a sudden you can say, well, I know a region, I know I'm going to be in my conviction, and this is going to go against the trend because they were going to love Duke of Brunswick.
Yep.
Track, distance, done, inform, tick, 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 price. But Ullman's only start for Weir was excellent, and gilded. It's a new horse. I reckon he's going to keep winning. But Duke of Brunswick, you know what its best would be, in my opinion?
When you said that in Australia.
What did I say last time?
You said last time.
There you go. Ori Stars in 3 weeks. If they freshen that up, just using a big motor, well, I reckon he'd be a ripping bet. But this will be some winners because, as you said, Like a Day was a super too.
Yeah.
Super. Yeah, no, Duke of Brunswick's a fabulous horse. He runs very similar figures every run.
Yeah.
He's run well again, and he's a really good benchmark. Ullman at his best is, probably too good for most of these horses this time of year. So, he's got better wins in him than that sort of race.
Just sort of a comparison with Ullman. Malaguera, his younger horse was running his races in fits and starts, and then finally matured, gelded, got in the zone, and got a.
He's always had ability.
Yeah, I reckon that's where Ullman's going to be.
Race 8 was taken out by Wild Rain from Trevinder and Atmospherical.
Again, I haven't seen Vince's figures, but I would expect that the 5 sections in 200 metre lots from after 100 metres after the jump would all be fairly consistent. And Damien Oliver did not give another horse in the race a chance. He just killed them, and going that quick throughout. In front, these jockeys that want to go slow and anchor drop and all this business, when you're on a good quality horse that can produce consistent speed throughout a race, you're very hard to beat from the front. And that was just a superb ride by Ollie with a mare that was obviously in good shape going off the jump out, which was as good a jump out as you'd ever want to see.
And that's why Cranbourne rightfully stopped you from looking at jump outs, because Wild Rain and its jump out only won by 15 lengths hard held, and as you said, beautiful through the gears, and it was 6s out to 750. So, were it not for that jump out, it would have been 6s out to 750. So
What about the owners though, Rob?
who filled up and walked the races and said, "Fuck me, they're betting 750."
Did they still get a crack?
That's right. Could they get on?
They got a crack.
So you're 100% right with what you said with Wild Rain. So in incremental, minus 0.2 below the benchmark to the 800, plus 0.3, 800, 600, plus 0.4, 600 to 400, minus 0.2, plus 0.3. One of the things that's, I reckon if you asked Ollie, did you mean to do that? I'm just guessing. I reckon he probably wouldn't. To that type of speed.
Yeah.
What's surprised me since I've been studying all this is the best jockeys do ride to the numbers. Yeah. They've got this innate ability to ride maximum efficiency, I suppose would be the way to describe it. And so if you're trying to study this caper, we were talking about it with long run before, an anchor drop is a total negative for leaders.
Yeah.
A mid-race surge is a total positive.
Yep.
So the way I read what Ollie did, he looked at Lord of the Sky and Runsardi, not much else, and said, well, if I go Lord of the Sky first, he can get over racing. So I'll just come out totally neutral, and then I'll start improving.
Yeah.
And outside of that, there was nothing that was really going to take up the lead. It was total genius because then he just put the pressure on, starts building, and then creates. Even if Fast and Rocky got the gaps, still would have been a fair ass to beat it, I reckon. I know it ran out of ground, it was a good run, but
I don't think you could have beat her on the day.
that's what I'm saying.
Too good a shape. So,
And she was too good, and the ride was
and the
too
point is here that she's just a really easy one to reference and to watch what I'm talking about. But you go and look at all the winners and their runs on the day. Most of them have been ridden in different parts of the field, but that's how they've been ridden.
Yeah.
They've been. Most of the races were won by the best ride.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like Ullman was 5 lengths off a too quick a pace. Olanero sat out wide and just maintained his momentum while the rest of the jockeys were playing smash up derbies or whatever they were doing, you know. As a brinker, once she found her feet, she accelerated steadily from the 600. You know what I mean? Like there was none of this rushing out of the barrier, stopping it and going that worked. It very rarely works in city races. It does work in the country when you've got a significant edge on them, at the provincials, whatever, but it doesn't work very often on many horses in the city. You know, there are some situations that we'll get to with Beirut. Beirut is the type of mare that can do, like she had a really good map advantage there on Saturday, and she can sprint off a slightly moderate tempo, and so that's a very good ride by Chris Simons. But more often than not, the way to win from in front is exactly what Ollie did on Wild Road.
So you're not on Twitter. A bloke called Walt G who puts out some good work on Twitter. I like what he's done. I don't know the guy, but he's a good punter. And he said afterwards there's the blow up on Dwayne Dunn about Fast and Rocky. And he made the very pertinent point. If you did a speed map, where else was it going to be? You knew it was going to be back and needing some run. It was the best horse in the race. You knew. I would very confidently say, I'm interested in your perspective here, that nothing wrong with the Fast and Rocky ride because you need luck, the rail's out, and that's the best place to be. The ride on longer ride, he could do something about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a bad ride.
Yeah.
A bad ride is when you can do something about it.
Yeah, different between unlucky
I've
and
got
bad.
no criticism of Dwayne's on Fast and Rocky. I don't know what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
He was just a victim of the horse he was on. But, you know, Dwayne Dunn is a good rider in most circumstances. He has one significant weakness in his game, and he refuses to deal with it.
Yeah.
That's when tempo comes out of races and he's on a horse that can do something about it, and he almost refuses point blank to do it. So it was the same situation, virtually on Longer On and Fearless Raider. And he gave both of those horses nowhere near their best chance of winning. And he hit the line with a lot of unused energy on both of those horses.
And one that comes to mind with Longer On, last week's show with DK here, you all agreed on Kendrawood's the same type of horse as Longer On.
Yeah.
But they'll learn from that. But Brad rode a Brad race with Kendrawood.
Yeah.
You needed to ride a Ryan Maloney race.
Yeah.
Boom, get a go.
Let's go.
And the last was taken out by Beirut.
600 metre race.
She's a great little filly.
She is. We've been on to her
Yeah.
at the provincials, jumping up in town, and she's a mare that really gives herself up in the parade.
Yeah.
Seen her parade badly a couple of times and been run terribly. But when she switches on the plate, Juppy's always sneaking out to the ring and having a look at her for me.
Yeah.
And when she's relaxed and on a game, she's these mares' races are hollow, and in this one there was a complete lack of tactical speed. She was always going to have good control of the race. She's a good mare to back.
And that's, I think, really pertinent too about, so she led slowly, but as you say, she's got to turn her foot. There was no incentive for Chris to do anything else but lead slowly, because you knew that anything chasing her, with her deep fitness and her ability to quicken, was fine. So we're not being unfair here in one size fits all. What we're saying is, if you want to study the numbers, however you want to study it, but if you study it, you will know that Longer On needs to be ridden quickly.
Yep.
You will know that doesn't matter what Beirut, and if everyone wants to leave her alone for 600 metres, happy days. So it's not one size fits all, but it is a case of knowing your horse. And some of these, what can make you money out of this caper can also do you fucking in when the people who are in control of the horse don't actually know its true capabilities. Yeah, it's quite amazing.
So I mean, the good part about the ride was Agnes jumped well from a wide gate and was shoved out to get across, which was fair enough. But Craig didn't get bluffed by. Chris didn't get bluffed by that. He took his time, and he got to the front on his own terms on Beirut, and so all credit. Just a good momentum building ride through the race. So
Give us two for the morning.
happy result. I sent a couple through to the Punter show this morning to go up on the thing. Who did I pick out there? Downhearted.
Sticking with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely got wins in it. He got caught in a very awkward spot there on Saturday on the fence. Got a bit of a checkered passage. Needs good tracks, but you can win city races. And you give a couple.
Well, Allman is just a horse you just want to stick with. Now he's just the type who can really pick at fence. As I said, like Malaguera. I think Girl Guide was the hit and run from the sprint, just the way the race shape was. And earlier in the day, look, I think Hersley will win that 2,400 metre in a couple of weeks.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree with that. Majestic Duke's the other one. Completely diggerised in front. Probably a run short. Will run a very good race next start.
Did you say Duke of Brunswick? If it does go to the Orange Star?
If it goes to the Orange Star, yeah.
I think it'll be good. That's a great little plan for it. I think there is a win if they can correct the manners of dangerous spots, or they put it down a straight. But I'm not going to get 100s again. That
No, we don't.
Don't try and back horse into being well mannered.
Yeah, no, he's
Flop back in mares back into form.
he's an interesting horse.
He's
It'd
got
be
ability.
interesting to see if they can straighten him out. Because he's obviously having trouble getting around a corner at the moment. So
A bit like myself.
maybe a straight race for him. Who knows? I don't know.
That'll do us for part 1. We'll be back with part 2 with What About the Punters.